Thank you for your patience.
Yes, ma'am.
Court is calling 2021 CR 7243, State of Texas versus Jessica Lee Johnson. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Hey, for the state, Your Honor.
Defense?
John Robertson from Ms. Johnson.
All right, and are you Jessica Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
This is our defendant now, but let's go back to 2021 to our first appearance. See how we got here.
All right, the court is calling 2021 CR 7243, State of Texas versus Jessica Lee Johnson. Can I have the parties announced for the record for the state?
Hunter Morris.
For the defense?
Leo Gonzalez.
And are you Ms. Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
Next, I'm showing you what's entitled Application for Deferred Adjudication or Community Supervision. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Proceeding on count 2, possession, judge waiving the remaining count.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
Did you understand you're charged with possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, 4 to 200 grams? That's a second-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea bargain agreement. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea bargain agreement and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state will call and the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea bargain agreement in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand if the court were to grant your application for deferred adjudication, if for any reason your deferred adjudication were revoked, the court could find you guilty and sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
The state is proceeding on count 2. They're asking that your fine be assessed at $1,500. The state is recommending deferred adjudication, $114 for laboratory testing and restitution, no contact with Home Depot and cause number 643002. Did you understand that to be the plea bargain agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense, is that the plea bargain agreement?
That is, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea bargain agreement?
It is, Judge.
Next, I'm showing you the paragraph entitled Waiver of Appeal. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you electronically sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Next, I'm showing you outside the plea bargain agreement. The state is requesting that your deferred adjudication be for a term of 5 years. There'll be a TAP evaluation and 150 hours of community service restitution. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes, ma'am.
Then to the offensive count 2, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
Right.
No, my question is, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No content.
State any evidence to support the defendant's plea.
State offers states exhibit 1 and attachments, Judge.
Any objections?
No objection, Your Honor.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports, but most importantly, there will be no live testimony? Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
The court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same.
This is the part where the defendant waits while Judge Boyd decides if they're going to prison or not. I'm going to speed it up instead of cutting it out so you can watch how she acts. And remember, she's facing up to 20 years in prison, and this is not a done deal.
Do you need to have a Kleenex? I mean, if you need a Kleenex, please take one.
Yes, ma'am. Tracy, go use your tissue, baby.
All right, we're back on the record. After reviewing state's exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. However, the court will defer finding you guilty as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are we proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
No, Your Honor. Just briefly, Your Honor, just that she understands the issues that are involved in this case. She's working to take care of those issues and take care of her children and stay clear to make sure that she's there for her kids.
All right, who is, Ms. Johnson, who is Ray Hernandez Jr.?
He was just an associate or a friend of a friend that was riding with me that night.
So you're saying you just pick up somebody random?
No, it was one of my friends. I had met him through a different friend that night, but I have not seen him since the night of the arrest.
Okay, so let's stop playing like we don't know who the people are who are in vehicles with us. Let's not do this friend of a friend or a cousin twice removed.
No, I literally had met him through somebody else, and we have not had contact since that night.
How old are your children?
My oldest is going to be 17. My youngest is 5.
So you're saying you only have 2 children?
No, I said my oldest is 17. My youngest is
Now, my
5.
question is, how many
6.
children do you have?
I
That
have
was
a
my
total of
question
6.
of you. I'm sorry?
I have a total of 6.
What are their ages?
Sit down. 5, 6, 8, 11, 12, and 17.
And how old are you?
I'm 34.
Where do you work?
Right now, I'm delivering for DoorDash. I was working as a Whataburger, as the lead manager in training for GM at Whataburger.
Has Child Protective Services been in your life?
Have, like, with me and my kids, or as far as when I was a child?
With you and your children?
I've had them one time before, when I had tested positive for marijuana at the beginning of a pregnancy.
Okay, and if you're drug tested today, what are the results going to be?
Just
And
the
before you
marijuana.
answer, let me let you know, you can be drug tested today. So it's
Yes, ma'am.
best that we meet on a level of honesty. So
Yes.
if you're drug tested today, what are you going to be positive for?
Marijuana, but I quit about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. So it should be like light traces, or it won't be strong.
And what other drugs have you used?
In the past, methamphetamines.
When's the last time you used meth?
It's been several weeks on anything else.
No, my question is, when's the last time you used meth?
So several weeks. So probably about 2 to 3 weeks. And on that, it wasn't an everyday thing, it was occasional use. Marijuana has always been my drug of choice.
So where were your children when you're using marijuana and occasionally meth?
With my mother.
So you're telling me in order to use marijuana and meth, you drop your children off with your mother and then go do marijuana or meth?
My mother lives with me.
So now your mother is becoming the mother of your children because you want to use marijuana and meth.
Well, she lives with me just these past couple of years that she just moved in, yes.
So what you're telling me again is that your mom becomes a mother to your children. So while you go off and use marijuana and meth, that's what I'm hearing.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. Sentence you to 5 years deferred adjudication, $1,500 fine, probated. Take in consideration 2021 CR 6153. County Court Cause number 643002. There's to be no contact with Ray Hernandez. No contact with Home Depot. Parenting classes. Random field visits 3 times per month. because someone is now going to have to look out for your children because you're not doing a good job. $150 hours community service restitution. I'll waive 40 hours if you complete the COVID exam. Whether or not you take the exam is completely up to you. I'm not forcing anyone to do it, but if you do it and you provide proof, the court will waive 40 hours.
They're fine. Why are you listening?
There's going to be excuse me, Ms. Johnson.
You're fine.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
do you want to turn this Wednesday into Monday by being required to appear in court?
No, ma'am.
Then you need to focus on this, because if you're in the courtroom, your children would not be in this courtroom. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
There's going to be a UA today. There's going to be weekly Zoom reporting until further notice. Outpatient treatment with probation. We're going to do the UA hotline for her. And Rebecca, have her referred to felony drug court. Rebecca, is there anything else that she needs?
No, ma'am.
Anything else you need from me, Ms. Johnson, in order to be successful in this probation?
No, ma'am.
Showing you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendants' Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you electronically sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Johnson?
I'm sorry, Judge. You
Yes.
forgot the proof of employment?
Thank you. There's going to be proof of employment within 30 days, and there's to be no employment as a home health care provider or anything involving minors. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, we can go off the record. Ms. Johnson, you're going to have to do better. There's something in this world that's going on that's called COVID. I know some people don't believe it exists, but each time you go out to do marijuana with friends or do meth with friends, you're bringing back COVID potentially to your children. And if you care about your children, you wouldn't do that. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Get a phone.
And up, you need to show your video.
Ms. Johnson.
It may become a Wednesday for your client, Mr. Gunn.
You mean a Monday?
Yeah, it may become a Monday. See, I'm desperately trying not to make it into a Monday, but it may end up being a Monday.
Ms. Johnson.
You want to try calling her?
Sure, Your Honor. Give me 1 minute.
All right.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Ms. Johnson, unmute for me, please.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Johnson, you're in a quandary, and let me just tell you why you're in a quandary. Your children are depending on you, and you're not being a good parent. Do you understand that you're not a good parent at this point in time?
Yes.
You're going to have to do better, because you know what's going to end up happening? Child Protective Services is going to get involved in your life. I personally don't know why Child Protective Services is not already involved in your life. But if you continue on the path that you're on, what's going to end up happening, you're either going to end up in prison, Child Protective Services is going to end up in your life, or either you're going to take some bad drugs because it's not FDA approved, and your children are probably going to end up seeing that. And that's going to be traumatic to them. And I know you think, oh my gosh, I'm using marijuana away from the house. The children don't know. I'm using meth away from the house. The children don't know. Children know, and children see. That's where we are. So either you're going to be a good parent to your children or you're not.
And here we are, back to the present, with our defendant standing in front of Judge Boyd because she didn't do what she was supposed to do.
Are you the same Jessica Lee Johnson, who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2021 CR 7243 for the offense of possession of a controlled substance, penalty group 1, 4 grams to 200 grams on September 8, 2021 for a period of 5 years. Is that you?
Ma'am.
All right, state.
Violated condition number 4 in Bear County, Texas, the defendant Jessica Lee Johnson did then and there fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of April, May, November, December 2022, and January 2023 in violation of condition number 4.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
And then Judge, this is on the second state's motion to supplement pending motion to enter. Violated condition number 4 in Bear County, Texas, the defendant Jessica Lee Johnson did then and there fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of March, April, May, June, July, and August 2023 in violation of condition number 4.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
And Your Honor, we waived and abandoned the other violations alleged in the motions.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, did you understand by pleading true to violation of conditions 4 and 4, the court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, sentence you up to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violations 4 and 4?
Yes.
Court will find violations 4 and 4 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
No, Your Honor.
All right, state, what are you requesting?
Your Honor, we're asking that you grant the motion, adjudicate the defendant guilty, and sentence the defendant to 10 years to do.
All right, defense, what are you requesting?
Your Honor, I'm requesting the court consider something other than revocation, or if revocation is going to be imposed at a number less than 10 would be more appropriate. Ms. Johnson would like to address the court, kind of explain her situation. She advised me that her situation recently has actually improved as far as the stability of her personal life. She's had a lot on her plate the last year and a half or so. Has admittedly not performed well on probation, but she would like to address the court and explain it.
All right, if you could raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Jessica Johnson.
All right, what would you like to say?
Just now that I'm in a better stable environment, and my dad's health is a little better under control. And I was gonna try to ask for a final chance with probation being in the new county that we've relocated to. Me going away will leave my 18-year-old take care of my dad by himself.
All right, what have you been doing while you've been on probation? Because you have not been reporting.
Yes, ma'am. Well, we did move out to Pipe Creek, Texas. And my dad's health was up and down in the middle of us relocating. So we actually ended up leaving behind, half of our belongings at the old house and not even going back for it because my dad having to have surgery and being in and out the hospital.
Let me ask you this. Did you ever provide the location of the children?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so because this is your third motion to revoke.
Yes, ma'am.
And the first one, it's
They're still in the same place with my mom that they've been the whole time because of my dad's health being up and down and us relocating. I didn't want to move my mom and them, to one county when we're moving in the middle of.
tell probation you were moving.
No, ma'am.
All right, because the first motion to revoke,
Right.
it was you were to provide proof of residency in Austin
Right.
and follow through on your CPS requirements. Did you complete CPS?
When I contacted them, when I got out, they said that the case was closed and there was nothing else for me to complete or do with them.
All right. Did you do felony drug court in Austin?
No, ma'am. I actually never ended up leaving. They had my probation officer that I had went on, I don't know if it was a vacation or what. She ended up not coming back and I had got like a new probation officer. So I never even got to actually leave to Austin. They revoked it that time.
All right. Did you complete parenting classes?
No, ma'am, I didn't. With my dad and us moving, I didn't get to start anything. I did sign up while I was in the
So
county waiting.
you've been on probation since September 2021.
Right.
What have you completed?
I haven't got to complete anything else.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying now that I'm in more of a stable environment and situated and my dad a little bit more under control, I would be able to start and do everything that I was supposed to originally do.
All right, the court is finding violations 4, 4, and true. The court is going to grant the motion, find you guilty. Would parties like to speak to time? I know State, you said you're asking for 10 years.
Your Honor, I just think a more moderate sentence would be appropriate for her. She's got a lot on her plate. She's got responsibilities she needs to get back to. I would ask the court to consider a sentence closer to 2 than 10, given the situation.
What situation? The one where she did whatever the hell she wanted for the last 2 years? Not thinking about anyone but herself? What situation? The one where she did whatever the hell she wanted for the last 2
Yes, one
years?
moment.
Not thinking about anyone but herself? I don't see this going well for her.
All right, court will find you guilty, grant the motion, sentence you to 10 years in the prison. Give you credit for any time served. Going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
All right. You do have a limited right to appeal. That right to appeal is as it relates to the allegations in the motion, not the fact that you are on deferred adjudication. And counsel, if she would like the therapeutic community, I can recommend that. It doesn't increase the length of time that you're in custody. Would you like that or no?
Yes.
All right. You'll still have to request it yourself. All right. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.